In a land where ancient traditions often overshadow modern progress, survival and dignity often come first, even over the embarrassment of open defecation. India is a country with over 5,000 years of history, and it's truly a place of stark contrasts. On one hand, we have the majestic beauty of the Taj Mahal, but on the other, there are harsh realities that millions of women face every single day. It's a land of incredible achievements but also immense challenges. Take Dharavi, for example. It's the largest slum in the world, and it's home to millions who struggle every day just to get by. This place really symbolizes the tough conditions many people live under. And it's not just poverty that's a problem. The issue of safety, especially for women, is deeply concerning. One of the most heartbreaking realities is that every 15 minutes, a woman in India is sexually assaulted. Can you imagine that? Every 15 minutes. And this might actually be an undercount because a lot of cases aren't even reported due to the stigma that surrounds sexual violence. It's a tough environment, with societal pressures that make it hard for victims to speak out. To make matters worse, Amnesty International has highlighted how the Indian government has struggled to provide proper protection for women. Between 2011 and 2016, cases of sexual assault went up by 50%. That's a huge jump, with over 25,000 cases being reported every year. And the scariest part? Most of these perpetrators are people the victims know, which makes the betrayal even more painful. There was one case that really shook the country. A well-known actress was ambushed by a group of men, including her former driver, as she was heading home from work. These men attacked her for 2 whole hours, and they even filmed the entire thing to use for blackmail later. It's horrifying to think that such a thing could happen. But unfortunately, it's the reality that many women in India face. This incident, like many others, paints a harsh picture of the challenges women face in India. It shows how public spaces, which should be safe for everyone, often leave women vulnerable. Poorly lit streets, unreliable public transportation, and the lack of proper public facilities make it easier for harassment and assault to happen. What's even more disturbing is that when these incidents occur, bystanders often do nothing. Whether out of fear or because they wrongly believe the victim is at fault, people choose to look the other way. This widespread apathy makes the situation even worse, allowing patriarchal values to remain deeply rooted in society. Many men, raised with these outdated beliefs, feel entitled to control women, as if it's their right. On the other hand, women, fearing judgment or feeling powerless, often remain silent, resigning themselves to the injustice they face. Another deeply emotional and complex issue in India is the ongoing fight against open defecation, particularly in rural areas where sanitation facilities are few and far between. Even as recently as 2017, around 600 million people in the country were forced to relieve themselves in the open, which brings with it a host of health risks. Diseases like diarrhea spread easily, and contaminated water adds to the problem. These unsanitary conditions hit women and children the hardest, causing high child mortality rates and widespread malnutrition. To combat this, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the Clean India mission in 2014, with a goal to construct over 100 million toilets. However, the fight is far from over. It's estimated that by 2024, about 15% of the population will still lack access to proper sanitation facilities. This crisis isn't just about building toilets. It runs much deeper, intertwining with social inequality, caste discrimination, and cultural traditions that resist change. In many rural parts of India, open defecation is seen as completely natural, and attempts to introduce modern sanitation practices often face resistance. For women and girls, this lack of facilities poses severe risks. Many young girls are even forced to drop out of school once they reach puberty because their schools don't have proper toilets. Providing dignified sanitation for all isn't just about infrastructure. It's about challenging long-standing social norms, promoting equality, and ensuring the safety of vulnerable populations. To outsiders, some cultural practices around sanitation in India might seem surprising. For instance, Many Indian women don't use toilet paper because it's considered impure for disposal in toilets. Instead, they use water, often with their left hand, as this method is deeply rooted in religious beliefs. While this might seem unusual to visitors, it's a completely natural part of life for millions of Indians. In wealthier homes, you'll even find special water taps installed next to toilets just for this purpose. So, what would you think if you encountered this custom while traveling through India? Would it surprise you, or would you find it fascinating? Feel free to share your thoughts below. But before we dive any deeper, I'd like to ask you for a quick favor. If you're finding this content insightful, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. It only takes a second, and your support means the world to us. It helps us continue bringing you the best stories and fascinating facts from all over the globe. Another intriguing and unique tradition in India is the ritual of frog marriages in Assam. This ancient ceremony takes place during the sweltering summer months, reflecting the Assamese people's deep spiritual connection to nature. Led by a village priest, 2 frogs are caught, cleaned, and dressed in traditional Assamese wedding attire. The frogs are then adorned with makeup, tied together with a red thread, and placed on a sacred platform where prayers are offered to Varuna, the god of rain. The female frog's forehead is marked with vermilion, symbolizing her new role as the bride of the male frog. After the wedding, the frogs are released into a nearby pond or stream. If they stay together, the villagers believe their prayers for rain will be answered. This ritual, passed down through generations, shows the Assamese people's strong belief in the power of nature and their hopes for a prosperous harvest. While traditions like this foster a deep connection with nature, India's growing wealth disparity highlights an ever-widening gap among its people. According to the 2024 Hurun Global Rich List, India now has 271 billionaires, making it the 3rd richest nation globally, after China and the US. However, this wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few. The wealthiest 1% of Indians control 77% of the country's GDP, while millions struggle to access basic needs like healthcare, education, and housing. Despite India's impressive economic growth, the divide between the rich and the poor has become more pronounced with each passing decade. In 2023 alone, an astonishing 73% of the wealth generated in the country went to the top 1%, while 63 million people were pushed into poverty due to crippling healthcare costs. Industrial giants like Mukesh Ambani, Gautam Adani, and Sajjan Jindal shine on the global stage, but the immense prosperity of these individuals paints a skewed picture of India's overall wealth. The glaring disparity between the opulence of the elite and the daily struggles of millions living in poverty casts a long, somber shadow over the nation. What do you think of this growing inequality? Is there a way to bridge this ever-widening gap, or will the chasm between the rich and the poor continue to deepen? As we dive deeper into India's mysteries, we arrive at one of the most chilling and haunting places on Earth, Rudra Lake, more famously known as Skeleton Lake. Hidden high in the remote Himalayan mountains, 5,000 meters above sea level, this glacial lake is a place of both serene beauty and deep unease. Scattered along the shores are hundreds of human skeletons, their origins shrouded in mystery. As the snow melts, these skeletal remains emerge from the ice, creating a scene that's as mesmerizing as it is eerie. For decades, scientists have been baffled by this macabre discovery, struggling to uncover the truth behind the chilling spectacle of Skeleton Lake. What do you think could explain the presence of these ancient remains? The eerie discovery of Skeleton Lake dates back to 1942, when a forest ranger named Hari Kishan stumbled upon its unsettling contents. Initially, it was feared that the skeletons might belong to Japanese soldiers who had perished during World War II. However, further investigation revealed that the bones were far older, sparking even more questions. In 2003, a National Geographic team unearthed additional skeletons, along with ancient artifacts such as wooden tools, iron implements, and leather rings. Yet, the mystery surrounding the origins of these skeletons endures. Some believe that a natural disaster, perhaps an avalanche or landslide, wiped out a group of pilgrims on their way to the sacred Nanda Devi temple. Local folklore tells of a tragic pilgrimage led by Raja Yastaval, a king whose entire retinue was annihilated by a violent hailstorm while traveling to the Nanda Devi festival. Others whisper of more sinister explanations, suggesting the skeletons might be the result of human sacrifices meant to appease the goddess Nanda Devi. What do you think? Could there be more to this haunting tale of life and death at the edge of the world? Share your thoughts in the comments. Shifting from the mysterious to the everyday, we now look at one of the most enduring symbols of Indian culture, the cow. In India, cows hold a sacred place in society as symbols of life, fertility, and motherhood. Revered in Hindu tradition, these gentle creatures are considered divine, and it's not uncommon to see them roaming freely through bustling city streets and peaceful rural fields. Those who care for cows are believed to receive spiritual rewards, and harming one is met with serious legal consequences. The presence of cows is a reminder of India's deep-rooted spiritual connection to nature and tradition, even as the country rapidly modernizes. The sacred status of cows in India presents both blessings and challenges, especially in bustling urban areas. Their presence, while spiritually significant, often causes traffic jams and disrupts daily routines in cities. Despite these modern inconveniences, cows remain central to life in rural India. They provide milk, are essential in farming, and play important roles in traditional rituals. Their dung and urine are even believed to have purifying properties and are frequently used in religious ceremonies. However, as India continues to modernize, the clash between ancient traditions and contemporary necessities becomes more pronounced. Issues like open defecation highlight this tension. For example, the story of a bride who fled her husband's home because of the absence of a proper toilet is a striking reminder of how deeply cultural beliefs still impact women's daily lives across the country. Shifting our focus from the land to the sea, we encounter one of the most isolated and enigmatic tribes on the planet. Hidden deep within India's Andaman Islands, North Sentinel Island is home to the Sentinelese, a tribe that has lived in near-complete isolation for over 60,000 years. The Sentinelese have fiercely guarded their way of life, refusing contact with the outside world. The Indian government has implemented strict laws prohibiting outsiders from approaching the island, respecting the tribe's wish for isolation, and understanding the potential dangers that outside contact could bring. Despite their seclusion, the Sentinelese have survived major natural disasters, such as the Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004, demonstrating their resilience. Tragically, however, violent encounters with outsiders have led to deaths, including that of an American missionary in 2008. What do you think about their unique way of life? Do you believe such isolation can be sustained indefinitely? Let us know your thoughts below. In India, eating with one's hands goes far beyond being a simple cultural custom. It's a deeply spiritual act. For billions of Indians, this practice is seen as a way to connect the body to the universe. According to Hindu belief, each finger represents one of the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and space. Eating with the hands helps create harmony between these elements and the food, turning a meal into a more mindful and sacred experience. The right hand is always used for eating, as it is considered pure, while the left hand is reserved for other tasks. Though this tradition may seem unfamiliar to visitors, it is deeply respected in Indian culture. What are your thoughts on this timeless and spiritual practice? While many traditions in India are revered, others bring up concerns about public health. One such issue is the presence of pesticides in popular soft drinks like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, which has sparked widespread alarm. Independent studies conducted in the early 2000s uncovered traces of harmful chemicals, including DDT, in these beverages. Despite these concerning findings, both Coca-Cola and Pepsi have denied the claims, maintaining that their products meet both Indian and international safety standards. However, the debate over the safety of these drinks continues, with many questioning the integrity of India's food and beverage industry. Do you believe these soft drinks are safe to consume, or is the risk too high? Let us know what you think. Finally, let's explore one of India's most intriguing natural wonders, Magnetic Hill, located in the remote Ladakh region. This is a place where gravity seems to be turned on its head. Cars, when placed in neutral with the engine off, appear to roll uphill on their own. Both locals and tourists are left astonished by this puzzling phenomenon. While some believe Magnetic Hill to be a mystical gateway to heaven, scientists offer a more down-to-earth explanation. The effect is actually an optical illusion created by the surrounding landscape. The hills in the area make what is actually a downward slope appear to be an uphill one. Even with this scientific explanation, the mystery and allure of Magnetic Hill continue to attract thousands of curious visitors each year. What do you think is behind this fascinating phenomenon? Could there be more to it than meets the eye? Thank you for joining us on this captivating journey through India's wonders. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more thrilling stories and fascinating facts from around the globe. See you next time.